Hello everyone. Today we shall look into a scenario where we have a particular column where the details are embedded into particular rows. For example, here I have a particular employee name, ID, first name, last name and city, and those rows are repeated for other employees similarly in row wise, okay, from top to bottom. Now what we want is we want the ID in a separate column, we want the first name in separate column, similar the last name and the city. So let us understand how to do it using different methods. I'll write a query where I could generate the row number. For this I'll write select, I'll take the name column and I'll use the row number function. Okay. And in the over clause I will write order by, just to order by normally I'll take select null, okay, enclosed within the parenthesis, and I'll rename this column as row num. Okay, from the table name is names. Okay, if I select this and execute, you could see that I could get the row number for each name, from 1 to 8. There are two employees, you, we could have a number of employees. Okay, now from, let us make this as subquery. What we shall do is I'll write select, for now I'll write star, from, I'll rename this subquery as some alphabet called A or S. Okay, instead of getting all the columns, what we'll do is we need that row num column. I'll write no row num. I'll put a comma. So here we shall implement some case when statements where based on the row num which is being created, what I'll do is I'll create the ID, first name, last name and city. I'll write case when row underscore num modulus 4, if it is equal to 1, okay, then it is name. Okay, end as, let us name this column as ID. Okay, what it does is if the remainder is 1, so our first column is ID, we rename that column as ID. Similarly, if the remainder is 2, we'll get the second row. Okay, and our column name is first name, I'll write F name. Similarly, if the remainder is 3, our column name is last name, so I'll write L name. And similarly, if the remainder is 0 when it is divisible by 4, our column name is city. So I have, since I have made it a subquery, I am taking this column, or you could say table, within the subquery and renamed it as S. Now if you select it and execute, you could see that our row number is the first column and we have separate columns of ID, first name, last name and city. And you could see that the rest of the places where the case one statement is not matching, we have the null values. So what we shall do is this whole query we can treat it as a subquery and write the external query, or you could say the query inside a query. What we'll do is I'll select ID. Okay, let us take this ID and I'll put a comma. So let us include this within from clause. Okay, and this whole query I'll include within a subquery called maybe A. Okay, here along with the ID we'll use a lead function in order to bring these rows into particular row. Okay, to use it I'll write lead. I have this first name where if it is not present, I'll get that offset as 1. I'll write over order, we want the order by row num. Okay, so we'll understand based upon the row num we'll get the lead function. Wherever the leading values are present, it will be brought into the same row. I'll write first name. Similarly, what we can do is we can use the same lead function and we can bring the last name for the offset 2. Okay, this is offset where it will skip the row and find the next one. Here I'll write last name, I'll put a comma, and here we'll use that city where we have the offset of 3. Okay, I hope this is understandable so far. Let us select this whole subquery and run it. Here you could see that now using lead function what we have done is, here earlier Pawan was present, here the last name was present, and here city name was present. Using lead function we brought all those values into one particular row, right? Now what we shall do is we shall remove these nulls by including it within a subquery again. So what I'll do, it is a simple query where I'll write select star from, again enclosed within the parenthesis, name it as something like result, and in the bottom I'll write where condition, where result dot id is not null. Okay, I hope this is easily understandable. If I execute, you could see that earlier my data was in particular column. Now I am able to transform to rows based upon the particular column names, and I am able to provide in the particular column names. Let us understand the same thing in a different method. Okay, here what we shall do is we'll start with that same row number function. Okay, I'll copy this row number function. Okay, here what we shall do is we'll enclose this within the subquery. Okay, I'll write select, okay, from, I'll enclose this within the subquery, and I'll rename the subquery as some a. Okay, or you could say you can give any random name. Here in the select clause what I'll do is I'll write, instead of taking the lead functions and writing case when statements, what I can do is I could use the aggregation function of max and I can write the case when statement similarly. So what I'll do is I'll take this conditions where I have written the case when, so I can implement these case whens along with the maximum function. For example, I'll write max of, here you could include this max and you could enclose close it here in the end. Okay, similarly what I could do is I can take the maximum of this particular column enclosed within the parenthesis. Okay, what it does is for the respective values where the row number modulus values are present, it will take the maximum place where the values exist, and it will bring to the respective rows. So here, since I have mentioned this in the select column and I'm using the aggregation function, we need to understand that we need to use the group by. So I'll write group by, instead of group by, we didn't use this particular column, but what we'll do is I'll use row underscore num minus 1, I could say divided by 4. I'll group by based upon this. Okay, I'll select this, I'll run it. You could see this. Now we have got the same result for the above query in a very in a short form or in a better way. If you want to reorder, you could order by id. It would anyway result in the same values, but still if you have different values you could use the same. Okay, I hope these two methods are understandable. Please practice using some sample data. Okay, this is all for today. Thank you for watching and we shall meet in the next video.